I am Sara Beykpour, and I am so excited to talk to all of you about Particle. But first, a little bit about me. I am Canadian. I grew up in Toronto. We're having an interesting relationship with that country right now. My sister, who is still in Toronto, refuses to visit me now, so that's where we are. I got my undergrad degree at the University of Waterloo in software engineering, and shortly after graduating, I came out to San Francisco to start my career at Twitter. I didn't know then that I would spend over a decade at the Bird Company before it became the X Company, but it's the Bird Company to me. And while I was there, I worked on a variety of different products, including Vine, the beloved video app, and Periscope, the live streaming app, as well as a bunch of stuff in core Twitter itself. But the whole time, I was always thinking about how do we connect people with the news that matters to them, and how do we make that easier, better, faster, and what are the challenges that people are facing as they try to keep up with the news. And my co-founder, who is also a former Twitter, he and I have been thinking about this for a very long time. In 2018, I moved to Larkspur from San Francisco, and in 2021, I moved to Kentfield, where I live now, with my husband, our two very young children, and our two dogs. My husband is actually from Marin. He's from Mill Valley, and his family and parents are there, so it's great to have that support. We love living in Marin. I think I'm going to be here forever. I hope so. And in 2022, towards the end of 2022, when Twitter got a new owner, and ChatGPT just came out, my co-founder and I started thinking about the doors that were being opened with AI, and was there perhaps an opportunity now to do something new with news and to have a new way for people to keep up with the news, and that's when we started Particle. So what does the landscape look like? We are in an age of unprecedented information overload. There is just too much. None of our ancestors had to deal with this much information. And as a result, people often just give up. There's too much news. Maybe you use social media and you see some headlines, see whatever the algorithm might feed to you that day. Maybe you have a subscription to one or two of your favorite publishers, but then maybe you're only getting the news from a limited set of perspectives. Or maybe you just rely on your one friend who does all the work for you and sends you text messages when it's important for you to know. Keeping up with the news is exhausting. In the meantime, there's also a challenge for publishers. AI threatens to further damage an already weakened media ecosystem. So Particle's mission kind of sits in between all of this. We think that the consumers of news have been really underserved, especially since news came online. The experience is terrible. Too many ads, too many pop-ups, too many clickbaity titles that try to get you to scroll around. And there's just, as I said, too much of it. So Particle's mission is to help you understand more faster, and the news that we give you is summarized, personalized, and efficient. So Particle sits in the ecosystem of the consumer needs and the publisher needs, and I'm going to talk about both of them. But I just want to underscore how important it is to meet consumers where they are. Because if we're not meeting consumers where they are, they're just not going to do it. And as a result, we, all of us, we're less informed, and I think society suffers as a result. Okay, so what does Particle actually do? Particle gives you a personalized news feed. Particle reads news from a variety of different sources. It groups that news together into stories, and it summarizes it and presents it to you in a beautiful reading experience. It's really important to us that you are able to to just kind of take the news as you want it. So maybe that means you only have time for a couple of headlines and a couple of subheadlines today, and you're done. Or maybe that means you actually have time to go further and you want to find out everything there is to know about a story, or anything in between. And we use that as part of our design principles to make sure that the experience, again, is just meeting you where you are. So, another important part of that is that the news needs to be personalized. You don't want to hear about stuff that you don't want to hear about. So Particle has various ways for you to tune and personalize your feed, and some of it is explicit and some of it is learned. But one of the things that makes Particle really unique is that you can not only be as broad as you want. I like sports, I like entertainment. You can also get as specific as you want. Maybe you're not actually that much into celebrities or music, but you are into Taylor Swift. Or maybe you're not, you already saw Wicked. You don't need to hear anything more about Wicked. You only want to hear about Wicked Part 2. You can make that selection. On Particle, you can follow basically anything. And we're actually building even more and more features to help with that kind of hyper-personalization so that the experience just matches what you are interested in and what you want to see. You can also explore passively, so you can see, what's popular, what's most written about. Sometimes what's most popular is not what's most written about, and those are the really interesting stories. Or you can browse topically like you can with most other news apps, to have that kind of like passive experience. When you decide to tap into a Particle story, you get a bullet point summary to give you the key facts that you need to know. You get prominent article placement of links of all of the article sources that made that summary, so you always know where your news is coming from. We try to do some intelligent things to help, again, save you time. So we'll pull out the important links and the important quotes. So this is a story about a pilot on Instagram, like a pilot program on Instagram, and we've pulled out the important quotes from the official Instagram accounts, the official Meta accounts, etc. If you are looking at a story about Kendrick Lamar's new single, there will be a link right to the Spotify so you can go and listen to it right away. If you're looking at a story about a bill that's being proposed in Congress, there will be a link to that PDF so you can see it right away. So we're just trying to save you time and pull out the most salient information that you need to understand the story. For any story, you can also ask questions. So our AI will answer questions for you, and every answer is fully cited, fully sourced. So again, you always know where your news is coming from. There are some other fun features that make the experience just a little bit more enjoyable. Not only are we in an age of unprecedented information, we are also in an age of unprecedented spoilers. So if you did not have time this weekend to catch up on The Last of Us, you can feel safe and happy catching up on the news, because for any fiction or reality TV spoiler, we'll blur it and you can choose whether or not you want to tap on it so you don't get spoiled about that untimely death of your favorite character. We provide digests, so you can opt into morning, midday, evening digests, so that if you're looking for just kind of like that quick hit of news, really bite-sized, we have those options. And finally, something that we call summary styles, which are really popular in the app, is you can look at the summary, not just those 5 bullet points, but you can look at it in a way that kind of, again, meets you where you are. So another example of a way to look at that summary is the 5 W's. So just quickly, the who, what, where, when, and why of a story. Another one that's very popular is explain like I'm 5. So sometimes the stories are really complex. I find this extremely useful for stories about bills in Congress or Supreme Court decisions. Supreme Court decisions when it's like the stay of the injunction of the ban, and then you're like, okay, well, where are we now? Explain like I'm 5 tells you in very simple language what you need to know. Another popular summary style is called opposite sides, and basically we take the different perspectives of the story and outline the arguments for those different perspectives so that you can kind of see and understand them very quickly. So what does this mean for, the news ecosystem and publishers? So as I mentioned before, Particle exists in an ecosystem where there are content creators and journalists and publishers, and we aim to help them and enable them. So I'll talk about this in a couple of ways. First, from within the app. As I mentioned before, every story has very prominent, large tap target article links so that you can go directly to the source material at any time. Particle aims to be a map for you, a guide, so that if you are interested in following a story further, it is extremely easy for you to do that. For certain publishers that we have special deals with, you can actually read that content right within the app. So you'll notice when you're using Particle, there are some publishers where you can, you won't even leave the app or get kicked out to a website. You can have a nice reading experience right within. Every publisher has what we call a publisher page, so you can find out more information about that publisher, see all the content that they're writing, see the authors that write for them. Every author also has a special page, so you can see all of their content, see who they write for, see their socials. And like everything on Particle, you can follow anything. So you can follow your favorite authors, get push notified if you want whenever they publish, and the publishers and authors that you follow will have higher placement in the article carousels so that it's as easy as possible for you to get to their content. Another thing that is extremely important to us and should be important to anyone who is aggregating the news is not just the news that is being aggregated, but how and what is being aggregated. And that's why it's also important for us to explain to you the bias of any particular story. So for political stories, we have this little popcorn line, if you can see what's circled in green over there, that has little blue and red and gray bubbles that at a glance very quickly show you the bias of the publishers that are reporting on this particular story. So in this case, and if you tap on it, you get like a larger map of that breakdown. In this case, kind of a little bit left-leaning, but definitely some strong representation on the right. And it's really important when that is skewed, and you can see that a story is perhaps only being reported from the left or only being reported from the right, that information is available to you ambiently because it is through that lens that you need to understand the bullet point summary that has been created. So it helps you understand one-sided stories. It helps you understand when something has been, is being covered on all sides, but we also allow you to quickly page through or tap through the different headlines from the different sides so that you can see at a glance if there is different framing from the left and the right. We also do some analysis so that we actually just tell you, the left is framing it this way, the right is framing it that way. But again, being part of this ecosystem means it's important for us to be super transparent about where the information is coming from and what biases might exist within it. This is a list of our partners. We're talking to many publishers. These are the ones that we are partnered with. We love working with them. We are finding ways to work with them even more and bring more AI to their newsrooms and help them in their jobs. And in turn, they help us with Particle and for the content that we have within the app. Some of our partnerships take us beyond Particle app. We have a partnership with the LA Times where we actually provide them with political bias analysis of their opinion pieces that they end up showing on their website. We are really excited about all of the upcoming work that we have with publishers as well, and we love working with them. They're great. That is a quick overview on Particle. You can download it on the iOS app today. One day, maybe I'll say we're at the top of the App Store like Watch Duty, but for today, we did hit #1 in news and magazines and newspapers a couple of weeks ago. Not quite all free, but we're working on it. Thank you everyone for your time, and I'll be around at lunch too, so come talk to me.